So welcome back. This is part 2 of talking about algorithm. Why is that term so important? Well, this video is all about how it relates to the epic story experience and the story universe of Matsuu. You see, Matsuu, if you go back to the beginning of these blogs when I started it, when I was learning how to talk into the camera like this, I educated that Matsuu came from a student of mine. And it said, making art together, supporting unity. Well, I've expanded on that because I had to put some poetry in there a little bit. So now it's making art together, supporting universal unity. That means all forms of unity. Unity in yourself first, to be you and I in the verse. You and I in verse in the city, in the university. You and I in the verse all, the universal. Right? Because uni is oneness. Verse is arrangement of sounds and words and poetic rhythms, right? So it's universe. So algorithm, in the last video, I showed you how I learned in the epic story experience of Matsuu, the journey of creating that I replaced the I, got rid of the illusory I in the middle, brought the I am, the why, the purpose why you're alive, and the algorithm will measure that. So, of course, to do a little review, I went into how you have the story stone, just like all the creatures in Matsuu. And each one of us has it. It's kind of positioned in your third eye, the place that you see in your imagination deep into yourself, where you look backward into yourself. And inside of it, it has a mechanism that's a poetic compass. But basically, when you shine it, it starts to project your painted poetic symphony. And inside the poetic compass, you can calibrate it. But the new discovery is, there's an algorithm in it, but it's an algorithm with a why. And so it kind of gets more in the creation phase of an algorithm, more than a data or a computer measurement. It's a measurement of yourself. So you can measure your own success through this algorithm. So you put your why in there. And the why is why you're alive, your purpose, your joy. Why you can move through certain situations and appearances and circumstances of your life with ease. And in that flow state. It's that state, a lot of artists talk about, a lot of champion Olympians, anyone who does anything that's really challenging on their core being, their physical, their mental, and their emotional being, to do something outside of the norm of just, getting up every day and doing your chores and paying the bills and everything. Do something out of your norm that stretches you and really opens that portal to the transcendence of who you truly are in this world. The I am. The presence of being that unique and original creature, right, in the Matsu language. And the algorithm is inside this poetic compass. And you remove the I, you put the Y in, and it builds structures. So there's all these myths about artists, and they're hard to work with because they're all over the place. They're creative and they come up with all these things, but they have no structure, and no confinements of things, no rules. But in the universe, the one verse, you and I in the verse, there's a whole set of structures. That's why I've always loved poetry, because I always call poetry the music of language. And music has all kinds of subtle little rules: rhythm, harmony, melody, cadence, right? Timbre, and then a symphony has movements and preludes. And so it has all the structure, but a lot of the artists I love, most people call them jam bands. I call them the Great American Music Band, because they tap into the jazz and the funk and the country music and the folk and all these genres that were basically created by the music industry to kind of label what the sound was. But, any of you that like music and like your specific artist, if you look at them, they're just original. They're their name, or especially if they're a band, they're the name of the band. Like all these wild names in the past, from Steppenwolf, right, all the way to the current ones like Fish and Goose and the infamous String Dusters, right, Leftover Salmon and Galactic and You know, I could go on and on and on and on. The string cheese incident, you know, and even a lot of the, you know, names like even love artists like Jackie Green, right, and Levon Helms, right, and Bruce Springsteen, you know, and a lot of them, that's not even their original name. Some of it is their original name, but they make kind of a mythic creature and a character that they go forward with. Well, they all have an algorithm that formed around who they are, the I am inside them, so they can uniquely and really originally tell you stories and express music and bring you art that enlighten your day. And you know, Matsu's all about telling all you folks, no matter if you don't paint, you don't draw, you don't make music, you think you can't sing, it's all your given right to be creative and innovative and original and unique, and not get defined by all these, you know, false identity constructs and all these untrue ideas. It's all illusory. It's all just dissolves away when you know why you're alive, what makes you happy, what makes you flow, what makes things an everlasting ease. Makes you have things like endless wellness, endless supply, permanent health, right? All the everlasting ease. All those properties we all desire to live a healthy, abundant, joyful, connected, creative life. And that's the algorithm. And so how it relates to the story of Matsu is each one of the characters, their algorithm and their poetic compass and that projection, the painted poetic symphony from their story stone gets destroyed seamlessly by this character named the Automata Khan, who got more into hate, greed, envy, jealousy, projection, blaming, complaining, all those things, all those dark things, war, arguments, you know, all those things, and most of all, separation and limitation. Found that, you know, they had to have their life a certain way and define it certain ways. And, you know, when it came to creating or collaborating or being social at the festival of life, they bring to the party all their limitations and why they want to be separated, instead of experiencing the wholeness of the universe and getting their aquatic algorithm. So the creatures, all the ones I've been introducing you to, that's what they start to find, is their aquatic algorithm with a Y. And they start to flow back together, which allows them to be these amazing creatures that tell these stories that come from the darkness, and they become the light. So once again, thank you for tuning in to the I Paint Creatures IPC channel, and come along for this journey, especially those of you that are taking this to heart and seeing that you can be original, love with all your heart, no matter if you doubt and fear that it's not going to come back, or it's not going to be abundant, or it's not going to be so joyful like those days of the sunny festivals I grew up in California, when we knew there was going to be music all day and just wonderful food, but most of all, people that resonated with their own algorithm. They were tuning into the music, which was tuning them and tuning their story stone and their poetic compass. And the algorithm measured their own success, which wealth isn't just things. Wealth is you, the I am, and knowing why you're alive and why you're here. So once again, love with all your heart, no matter, regardless of any of the appearances or circumstances, situation, or social experiences that seem to knock us down. Let them go. Let them go. And be creative in every moment of your life. And like Ra likes to say, get your funk unstuck and be funkified. You all being funkified and free with I Paint Creatures and IPC, and the journey of the creation of the epic story experience of Matsu.